Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Sports. I am Trevor, your host. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I appreciate all your help and all your support. And please keep watching, guys. I'm going to keep making them. It's been about a week now, so I'm really kind of like jonesing to get going with talking about sports. With just doing a 1 hour show a week right now, just trying to get some structure. So I appreciate the support and the patience, guys. And let's keep going. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Niners. We're going to talk a little bit about Warriors today. And we're what are we? It's Friday, so we're like 3 days away from Monday Night Football, right, guys? So today I was gonna do a show for between 5 and 6. I didn't do the show between 5 and 6 because, of course, there was a Friday night game I forgot about, and I wanted to watch the Friday night game. So that was a good game with Green Bay and Philadelphia ended up winning, but still a very close game. And it tells me a lot about what the Niners are going to see against Philadelphia and Green Bay, and I'm not worried in the slightest now that I've seen that. The defenses on both sides were giving up a lot of points, not looking great, making mistakes. Of course, it's the first game of the year, so no need to worry about like what they might look like in week 5 or week 6. But I like the 49ers' chances of going to the Super Bowl right now. I like them a lot. I'm excited, not because of this game. I'm excited because the Niners are doing some very good things to keep their players intact, and we'll talk a little bit more about that too. Keeping the players on the team and restructuring deals. Okay, but let's talk a little bit about Ricky Pearsall first. Ricky Pearsall was shot signing autographs in Union Square in San Francisco. Number one, anybody who doesn't know anything about San Francisco, that's not San Francisco, okay? Number two, in down economies, cities all over the world like this and all over this country, Chicago, New York, San Francisco, are going to see the effects of more violence and more homeless, unfortunately. Union Square is typically not a violent place at all in San Francisco, but unfortunately, he was shot. But what really drew my attention was he was shot in the chest, and he fought back, shot the assailant as well after he was shot, and then walked to the ambulance, got in the ambulance. He had some help, but walked to the ambulance after being shot in the chest. Went to the hospital, was released the next day. After he was released, 2 days later, he was back in the gym, guys, working out, getting ready for football, and he's not even going to play on Monday night. He's still just trying to learn the 49ers structure and system, but he was back in the gym 2 days after being shot, guys. I'm taking back my whole Ricky Pearsall is made of glass thing. Sorry, Ricky. If you're watching this, please do watch it. That'll make me really happy, make me feel like I'm doing something. Please watch this. But Ricky, sorry, you're not made of glass. You just had some unfortunate issues during preseason training camp and games that would, an injury or two that really isn't going to stick around. I don't think so now. Now I'm like, this guy's tough. He's going to make it. So, as a Niner fan and as a football fan, I am thanking God that you're not hurt worse and that you are going to become a superstar wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. And I wanted that before, but I want it even more now. So I'm super excited about that. Ricky Pearsall, you just went up like 10 notches in my book for being a badass. So awesome, dude. Good job. Get well. You're healing. You're at the gym already, so I know you will. Very cool. So, Ricky Pearsall. San Francisco has been not great, but for people who have never been to San Francisco or people who don't go there very often or aren't even living in the state if they happen to watch this video, please understand, San Francisco is not what people talk about. It's not a complete dumpster fire of a city with homeless everywhere. Yes, there are places where there are homeless, no doubt. There are good places near the marina. Union Square is still really good. Little Italy down by Columbus is good. Great restaurants. No homeless, very clean. Lots of places in San Francisco are so good. The Presidio. So there's lots of places that are still like, doing well, guys. So if you've never been there, don't knock it till you try it kind of thing. You have to go and watch. You have to go be there and see it. And if you see it, you'll know they're just like every other city where they got their good parts and bad parts. So that's the thing. Just don't knock San Francisco like that until you know it. What's up, buddy? Like, sun's in here. Anyway, San Francisco's a great city. I love it, and I only want to see the best for the people who live there and people who visit. And people should know that San Francisco's awesome. So anyway, Ricky Pearsall, you're awesome, dude. Get well. I want to see you rock it for the 49ers. Okay, next thing. Trent Williams signed his contract finally. Wow, big no-brainer, right, guys? I told you for the last week or two that was not going to be a problem, and guess what? It's not. 3 years, $48 million guaranteed, $25 million signing bonus. Okay, we're happy now. Let's go play football and protect Brock Purdy so he doesn't get killed, and that's what they're going to do. Trent Williams is going to come in, and he is going to be the best offensive lineman in the league, like he always is, and he is going to make an impact. He's going to help in the running game, right? Christian McCaffrey, JP Mason, which, by the way, now that we're talking about Christian McCaffrey, that hamstring injury is not getting much better. He's going to play, but he is playing on a pitch count, more or less, for lack of a better word. He's not going to be touching the ball as many times. He's not going to get as many touches as he usually does. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to play a lot in the game. That is not what that means. Because remember, last year, he was on the field 90% of the time. He only came out to get a sip of water, and he was back in. So I would say he's going to get less touches than he did last year for a little bit until that thing is 100% ready to go. But JP Mason is running like an absolute beast. JP Mason, I mean, he's running like a Christian McCaffrey. I wouldn't say you could put him in there and he would be just as good, because I don't know. He's a rookie. But what I can tell you is that from what I've seen, he's running like a beast. Like, it takes multiple guys to knock him down and take him down. He reminds me of beast mode. It's crazy. Like, that's what he reminds me of more than Christian McCaffrey. Like, he literally is running like crazy. Like, it takes 2-3 guys to take this dude down. So I think him getting some extra touches and helping Christian McCaffrey out is a great thing. It's awesome. It keeps McCaffrey healthy, because once we get to the playoffs, we need him healthy, which he has been, but we want to keep it that way. So taking the load off McCaffrey and giving some of the load to Christian McCaffrey, to JP Mason, is great. They should be doing that. And I expect that totally. And I think he's up for it. I think it's a great thing. So anyway, not great news that McCaffrey is not 100%, but he's going to play, which means he's close to 100%. And he's just going to get a few less touches. And that's fine, because he runs more than any other running back in the league, I think. I mean, I'd have to check and see the numbers, but he's out there all the time, guys. So giving him a little bit of a break does not mean he's not going to play most of the game. He's still going to play a lot of the game. A lot. But Mason is a very good blanket. He's a good security blanket. Makes you feel nice and warm when McCaffrey's not in there. Like, everything's going to be okay. So it's all good. I think everything will be okay. So, great. That's the news for Christian McCaffrey and JP Mason getting a little bit more love, I'm sure, right off the bat and going into, further into the season. So, those are good things. Deebo Samuels. Now, look at Deebo Samuels just restructured his contract, freeing up $16 million for next year. Why is that important? Well, I'll tell you. We have a quarterback we need to sign next year, because Brock Purdy's the man. He's only getting better. He could be the next superstar in the NFL. Let's just be honest. If you look at numbers, last year he was the best quarterback in the NFL. And anybody that wants to argue with me can. And we'll just look at the numbers. He was the best quarterback in the NFL last year. And he will be again this year. In fact, he's going to be better. I think he's going to take the next step, and I do think the Niners win the Super Bowl this year. I really do, and I think Deebo restructuring his contract says something. It says he wants to keep this team intact. Everybody on this team together, Deebo Samuels, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk. You keep those guys together, and you have a chance to win multiple Super Bowls still. They're all still young. They're all still young. But the reason why people think this team is going to get blown up is because of the money. They all need to get paid, and you can't pay them all, right? Unless you restructure your contract. Now, Debo just did. You get one or two more players to do that, to understand how special this could be going forward, and now you've got a group of players you can keep together for a little bit longer term, which is really a good idea, and I like that. The Warriors did that a lot during their runs. Like, not every superstar did, but some players took pay cuts, restructured, did some things for the good of the team, and they got paid anyway because they won. And this is exactly what I see with the Niners. It's great. I hope that that's a trend, and then a couple guys restructure their contract so Brock Purdy gets paid, and they keep this thing rolling, because I know they've lost 2 Super Bowls, both to the Chiefs, and let's just face it, Mahomes is probably going to go down as one of the best quarterbacks in history. Okay? He could still be on track to win more Super Bowls than Tom Brady, right? And everybody wants to say Tom Brady's a GOAT. If you ask me, it's hard to say. Joe Montana, to me, is still the best. Why? Because the era he played in was so much tougher. Joe Montana broke his back. He broke his back. He still won Super Bowls, okay? Tom Brady, break your back and go out there and play the same way and get your head knocked off as much as Joe Montana did and still win. Then I can call you the GOAT. I kind of almost have to call Tom Brady the GOAT anyway, just because of the playoff against the Falcons where he came back by so much. I think they were down by like 20 points, and he came back. It was just the most amazing thing I've ever seen, I think. So, I mean, it's a coin flip. But anyway, Patrick Mahomes is going to be up there, and we lost twice to him. So is that something that we need to be ashamed of? Absolutely not. Did we give it away? I would say yes. I would say that Shanahan should have ran the ball a hell of a lot more in both Super Bowls than he did. And if he would have ran the ball and ran the clock down, we would have scored more, and we would have ran the clock down, we would have won. I think he learned that in the second Super Bowl, but not nearly enough. Because if he would have learned it like he should have learned it, we would have won the second one. Anyway, I think we have a chance to go back to the third one, and I think we can win it this year. I think they have the best team in the league this year, just looking across the board. Even Kansas City is going to drop off a little bit. I do believe it. And I think the Niners win it. I really do think they're going to win it this year. But let's see how it goes. It's damn hard to get through the playoffs and get back to the Super Bowl for any team. It's not likely, but, it's not just because I'm a Niner fan. I'm saying this because it just makes sense the way that this team is built. And Brock Purdy was at the gym. He's stronger. He's throwing the ball harder. He's working on his footwork. Not that he needs to that much, but he is staying sharp, guys. Like, he's going to take it to another level this year. So, yeah, I think the Niners should be the favorites to win the Super Bowl. Maybe you could say Kansas City's the favorites just because they won it last year. But I think the Niners, looking at the roster, if you really took a fair look at everybody's roster, the Niners have the best roster. So, I'm feeling good about all that. I'm feeling good about the players restructuring their contracts to help keep everybody together. That shows real team unity and teamwork. I love it. We got Trent Williams back, protecting Brock Purdy, which is fantastic. And we got a couple of offensive linemen that have shined. So I'm actually kind of changing my tune on the offensive line. I think maybe the offensive line is going to be pretty good for the 49ers this year. Now, I'm not super excited about the depth, because if somebody goes down and gets hurt, we're in trouble. Okay? So that's the only thing that I'm kind of worried about when we look at the 49ers offensive line. But the starters, if they stay healthy, they're pretty good. They're looking better than I thought. I mean, they're looking really, really good. So all systems go, guys. All systems go. Let's go beat the Jets on Monday night. Looking really good. One frustrating piece of news that came out was Isaac Guerendo. Okay, first off, let's just look at Isaac Guerendo's history. He's a draft pick the Niners picked up this year, and runs like a beast. He's 221 pounds and he weighs 221 pounds and he's 6 foot tall. And he runs like a beast and he does the 40-yard dash in 4.33. He's fast and he's a beast. He's superhuman. But he gets hurt all the time. In college, he had 4 hamstring injuries. 4. He was hurt every year in college. And we still drafted him because the guy runs like a beast. Did you see the last preseason game? If you didn't, he was a guy who on the kick return team ran the ball back for 95 yards. And I was so excited to watch him be on the kick return team this year. Like, he was drafted as a running back. He could be a running back. He could be a tight end probably. He could be on the kick return team, absolutely. And I would love to see him on the kick return team. Like, this guy can run. And he can it takes 2-3 guys to take him down. He's tough. He's big. He's athletic. He's fast. But now he's got a groin injury. And we don't know how long that's going to be, but groin injuries are not fun and they take time. I'm guessing he's going to be out 3 weeks. I don't know. Best case scenario, he's out 3 weeks. Okay, guys? That's the bottom line. And it's really frustrating that a guy like that who was having such a great training camp and such great preseason games, he looked like he was ready to just hit the gates running like an athlete, like a guy who's been in the NFL for years. This guy's going to be a superstar, though, guys. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be a superstar. He scored a 9.9 out of 10 at the Combine. Most players don't get that, guys. Even the top draft picks in the NFL draft do not get a 9.9 out of 10. His physical ability, his strength and his speed, and his talent for the game is really exciting to see. This guy could be a superstar. I think he's going to be a superstar if he can stay healthy. Because I didn't know he had 4 hamstring injuries in college. I knew he had a couple injuries, but I didn't realize how frequent they were happening. 4 hamstring injuries and now a groin injury. Yeah, that sucks. He's got to get over that. Just like Ricky Pearsall's got to get over the whole getting injured in the beginning of, training camp crap. It's got to get done. But those 2 guys are good picks if they can stay healthy. They're both going to be, they're the future of the 49ers if they can stay healthy. I'm super excited about both of them. And let's see where it goes with them. But, yeah, not great to see Guerrero on the sideline for 3 weeks instead of returning kick returns in the first game against the Jets on Monday night. That sucks. So that's no fun. So anyway, another thing that I don't really like, and I'm going to talk about this from the fan perspective, is the 49ers actually have changed their tailgating rules. Now, this may not sound like much to anybody out there, but I love tailgating. I love the idea of going out, doing a little barbecue, having a few beers, and going in and watching the game and making a day of it. But what the 49ers are trying to do, and probably will do, is change the way you tailgate. Because when you tailgate, you do it with your friends and your family. So now, whether you're a preseason or a season ticket holder or not, but season ticket holders are complaining because they're paying like $3,000 a seat. When you come into the parking lot, they're going to usher cars in whatever direction they see fit. So if you come in with your friends or your family, you could get parked in like 2 different places completely. So if you plan to come in at like 10 in the morning for a 1 o'clock game, do a little barbecuing, do some hamburgers, hot dogs, hang out with your family, listen to some music. You can't do that because now they're saying, oh, you can't listen to music too loud. And we're going to park you wherever we want to park you. So you can't park next to your friends necessarily. This is ridiculous, guys. It's what tailgating is all about. Loud music, food, drinks, throwing the football around, hanging out with your friends and your family, and making a day of it. And now they're saying they're going to change all this? Why? We don't have any violence going on in the parking lots. Not really. Does it happen? Sure, at every stadium it happens a little bit, but no more than any place else. There's nothing that would make you think that it was out of control at all, by any means. Why they're doing this, I don't get, guys. I don't get it. Sorry. A little water. I don't get it, guys. Sip of the day. All is water. Next week it'll be a beer. Something like that. Anyway. I don't think they should treat the fans like that, because do you know how long it takes to get to the 49ers stadium? If you don't know, if you truly don't know, it's a pain in the ass. It's freaking horrible. Okay? I drove to the Niners stadium from where I live in Sonoma County. And to get there, just to get within a mile of the stadium, took me about an hour and a half, which is normal. Maybe a little less. Took me 2 hours within a mile of that stadium to park. I was an hour early to the game. Okay, I made it in the stadium to my seat after the first quarter was just ending. Okay, the first quarter was just ending on Monday Night Football. It sucked. All that experience was crappy. So, if you're gonna take away the small victories that the fans have, like just being able to tailgate and have some good times, that's ridiculous, guys. 49er executives or whoever, if you ever watch this, please listen to the fans. Please listen to me. Don't take away the small little things that make people happy, because getting to your stadium sucks. It sucks bad. It sucks so bad, and I'm such a huge Niner fan, I'm not going back there again. I'm not. And I want to, but I'm not driving into that crap. I'm not trying to find parking for 2 hours. I'm not doing that. I'm going to watch the game from my home, cook my own food, drink my own beer, and watch from home, and I don't have to drive anywhere. Which I don't think you really want. I wouldn't think you'd want that. I think you'd want Niner fans at the stadium as much as they'd like to go. Oh, and by the way, your ticket prices are just like everybody else's, through the roof. So even if I wanted to go, I couldn't take myself and my kids to show them a nice football experience unless I save my money for 3 months and decide I'm going to take my kids to either watch a Niner game or go on vacation for a week. That's what it is, guys. $350 a ticket, $250 a ticket, roughly. You get there, you get food. Food is expensive. You're going to spend $200 on food, $300 on food and drinks. Parking's going to cost you $50. I'm not going to go on vacation instead of going to a Niner game. It's an exaggeration. But you're spending $1,000 if it's 3 of you. And if your wife wants to go, it's $1,500, $1,400. If she's interested in going and watching a football game with the boys, which she very well may be. So, guys, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it used to be, I used to go to baseball games with my dad. I used to go to football games with my dad, and he could afford to take me. And you want to have those experiences with your kids, and now they're making it as if it's a once-a-year thing or a once-in-a-lifetime thing for some people. Like getting one ticket to go to a Niner game if you don't make very much money. They make it impossible, even for the worst seats in the house, which aren't bad. But, you know, baseball's getting that way. And don't get me started on the baseball rules and all the crap that's baseball. I'm 44. I just turned 44 August 20th. When I was a kid, baseball was not like it was now, like it is now. I learned to hit. I learned to bunt. I learned to steal. I love to steal bases. I learned the squeeze plays. Now it's home run or strikeout. It's crap. It's boring. And by the way, if you go into extra innings, you get an extra guy on second base right off the bat with no outs. What kind of shit is that? Let me tell you something. A guy on second base with no outs is like 2 bunts away from a win, period. Which isn't that hard to do. It isn't. And yet, you know what? Teams don't do it. They still don't do it. Like, having a guy on second base with no outs is like the totally easiest way to win a game, period. It's just total bullshit that you're going to give that advantage away. It doesn't make sense. It's not baseball. Baseball's not baseball to me anymore. Complete crap. Complete crap. I don't know what they're trying to do to the game, but they're ruining it. And if you want to get on the topic of steroids, I don't care. I don't care about steroids in the least. Take them. Take them. It was freaking fun. I sat out there and watched Mark McGwire hit home runs that went over the bleachers, guys. Over the bleachers. And if you don't know what that means, that's 500-foot bombs. And I could care less that he took steroids to do it. And I know Barry Bonds isn't going to admit it, but he took steroids. And it was fantastic. I loved it. Bring it on. And let me tell you, they've been taking steroids for 30 years, 40 years, guys. And they know it. Willie Mays took steroids, guys. They weren't as improved, right? They weren't as, as amazing as Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Jose Canseco turning into monsters and hitting home runs, but it was entertaining. It was awesome, if you want to talk about home runs. And by the way, when they were playing, there was still stealing. There was still bunting. There was still hitting for average. There wasn't just home runs and nothing, by the way. But, guys, let's not kid ourselves. The minute that Jose Canseco came out and told everybody that people were doping, like they didn't freaking know, right? They didn't know. They didn't know anybody was taking steroids. It was a big mystery. Oh, my God. Let's lock them all up and keep them out of the Hall of Fame. They're doing steroids now. How could they do that? They've been doing steroids for 50 years, guys. 50 years. Willie Mays was doing steroids. Nobody gives a shit. You know why? Because it's entertaining. It's fun. Let the athletes be athletes. Let them take steroids. I don't care. I don't care. Because you've changed the rules and turned the game into a word I'm not going to say on this camera. But why don't you just take their baseball pants away and put a skirt on instead? That's what it is today, guys. That's what it is today. And now a guy's going to pitch a no-hitter, and he's in the 7th inning, and you're going to take him out for a pitch count or some ridiculous crap like that. Okay, I'm just going to say it. Where did the balls go? Where did everybody's balls go? I mean, your balls fall off? Is that what happened? Is that what happened? I don't want to quote the Joker, but I mean, like, what happened? Your balls fall off? Yeah, that's what baseball is. It's ridiculous. So I don't even want to get started about that. I still love baseball. It's baseball and football. I played baseball 18 years of my life. I love baseball. The way it's supposed to be played. Not the way it is now. The way it's supposed to be played. Let's see if we can get back to that someday. I don't know. It's pretty ridiculous now. Which brings me back to another point, the Oakland A's. Actually, let's leave that till later. San Francisco Giants. Farhan Zaidi. I've been talking about this for about a month now. Does Farhan Zaidi keep his job? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he deserves it. All the accolades that he has in his career about putting together great baseball teams and helping them win World Series, he hasn't shown that for the Giants at all. The more I think about this, the more I think he should be fired. And let's see how that goes. Because I do think there's a good chance he could be gone after the season's over. I think the Giants should have enough of him and should have had enough of him and should get rid of him. I do think that. I think the Giants are definitely, they're at a point where he's done everything he can do. I keep thinking to myself, just give him one more shot to get a guy in here who can hit. They got a good pitching staff. But what if Snell opts out and goes somewhere else? Snell's your star pitcher, and he didn't even start off well. Started off like crap, guys. He only started playing well halfway through the season. Now, let's say he got comfortable in a Giants uniform, and now he's just going to be awesome. You still have to build around that. Farhan Zaidi has not built around the team. He hasn't been able to do that. What tells me that he's going to do that next year? I just don't think he will. The more I think about it, I don't think he will. I for whatever reason, maybe it's that he's not being given the money. I don't know what it is, but they're failing on attracting the big stars. Aaron Judge, and maybe Aaron Judge wasn't gonna come anyway. Maybe he was just using the Giants as bait to get more money out of the New York Yankees, but they lost him, right? And I think he did kind of like the idea of being a Giant, but I don't know what the Giants offered him. It wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. So, I mean, that's just one example of players that they missed on, but he's not hitting any home runs when it comes to attracting the free agents. Now, maybe with the bullpen being the way it is and it's getting better, maybe you can attract a player, that can hit, because you need people with power at this point, or people who can hit for average. I mean, when your best player is hitting, 300 or 325, it's okay. It's not going to send you to the World Series. It's not going to do that. So they need to build on that, and I don't know if they're going to give him another chance. Maybe they will. It depends on the money. I look at it this way: if they keep Farhan Zaidi for another year, it only tells me they don't want to give him any longer of a leash, that they're just holding off and waiting for something. I don't know, more money. I'm not really sure. The economy to get better, but it kind of makes me think for a bit that if Farhan Zaidi keeps his job, it's going to be business as usual, which means you're not going to see any flashy moves in the offseason. So I don't know. Getting him out of there and getting somebody in who can attract players probably is the best course of action, in my opinion. But let's see what happens. I would not be surprised if he was gone. He hasn't proven himself. He hasn't earned his paycheck, so to speak. He really hasn't. It's not like he signed players that were good and then came to the Giants and just didn't play well. That wouldn't be on him. That'd be on the players for not doing it. He just hasn't attracted the players to come and play for the Giants, whether it's money or what. Now, we know that the Giants don't have a favorable ballpark when it comes to, batters. It's harder to hit home runs out of the Giants park. But let's just be honest. A home run in one stadium a lot of times is a home run in another, for most. Sometimes you're just barely making it over the fence in some places, and fine, give or take. But if you're a good power hitter, you can hit a home run at any park, and that's just the way it is. Aaron Judge hits 50 home runs a year or whatever. He doesn't hit 50, but he's close. He hits those home runs at any park. Any park, guys. Pretty much every time, any park. So that shouldn't be a deterrent for too many players. So it comes down to money or negotiations, and you're not good at either, which means either the ownership isn't wanting to pony up or you're not a very good GM and you need to go. And Farhan Zaidi has the record. So I would think he'd be a good GM, but not for the Giants. So anyway, we'll see what happens if he gets a longer leash. But if he does, it won't be much. The way I look at it, he's got one more year. If they give it to him, one more year. And if they don't do something special, he's gone. He's gone. And he deserves it. He deserves to get fired at that point. Go work for the Oakland A's. Again. See if you can turn them around wherever they decide to end up. Which brings me to the Oakland A's. So, well, not really the Oakland A's. More of Oakland. Oh, well, both. So Oakland made a deal with the African American Sports and Entertainment Group to buy 50% of the Coliseum, which makes way for the A's to sell their shares, which they sold for $125 million, before moving to Sacramento for the time being. Now, I have not heard anything since June about the stadium being built in Las Vegas. So I have no idea what the movement on that is, but it's slow going for sure. Now, they keep saying that they're going to be ready for the 2028 opening season for the A's to play there in front of a passed out, heat-stroked crowd with no water. If they show up, guys. So that's what that is. If that happens. If that happens. You should be giving out free bottles of water to everybody who comes to that stadium because it is going to be an absolute mess. Okay? An absolute mess. But I digress. The A's are no longer allowed to play at the Coliseum in Oakland. We knew that, but now it's a done deal, 100%. They're off to Sacramento Purgatory, playing at the River Cats Stadium in Sacramento. It's a AAA stadium that needs upgrades that the A's are paying to upgrade. I don't know what, the locker rooms, the field to a certain extent, but how much can you upgrade a AAA team? Have you ever seen, or a AAA stadium, sorry. Have you ever been to the River Cats Stadium? It's a fun stadium for a AAA team. It's super fun. It's small. There's not a lot of room to grow as far as like remodeling locker rooms or the stadium in a real way. It's right on the river. Parking lot's not super big. So now you have a major league team coming in and playing there, and you're going to have parking, and you're going to have... Why? I got to adjust that. That thumbs up is just horrible. I'm going to have to do a thumbs down. Will it do it? No. Won't do it. Weird. Anyway, you're telling me you're going to have parking, enough parking for anybody who wants. Maybe you will, because nobody's going to want to watch the A's. So you're going to have enough parking, and you're going to have a stadium that professional ball players are going to want to go and play in. And we're not just talking about the A's, guys. Remember, the A's play the Yankees many times. The Yankees are going to come play at the River Cats Stadium? That's nuts. That's nuts. They're going to sit all their starters, guys. None of those guys are going to come play there. Don't even try and go watch the Yankees play, because you won't see anybody good there. They're going to like take the weekend off and bring up their AAA players to play there. That's what that's all about. That's it. They're going to play there till 2028, guys. And we're coming into 2025. So we have, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028. 4 years. 4 years, they say. But remember, we know nothing about what's going on with that stadium over in Las Vegas yet, because we haven't heard any news in 3 months. Well, not 3 months. That's not true. Maybe 2 months. 2 months. So, is that even getting done? Is the rendering being approved? Somebody needs to go look at that rendering. That rendering is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how a team plays outdoors, guys. I don't know. In Las Vegas. In 110-degree weather. You're asking a team to go out there on the field. Now, the new renderings show that the top of the stadium is covered. I've talked about this many times. But again, when you're in Las Vegas, if you've ever been there, just simply covering the roof, yes, it keeps you out of the sun. It doesn't keep you out of the heat. It is going to be extremely hot. And they're relying on tourists to come watch the A's. Now remember, guys, nobody gives a shit about the A's outside of Oakland. There it is again. I'm going to do that for I'm going to do this throughout this video. I keep saying that. Nobody cares about the Oakland A's, man. Nobody. Except for Oakland. San Francisco, nobody cares. What tourists are you talking about? What tourists are going to come to Las Vegas to watch the Oakland A's play? We're going to sell out that stadium. First off, the locals don't care. They care, but they don't want the A's because the owner is horrible and he doesn't put a good team on the field. So you think they want a good team, or a crappy team to be in Las Vegas, in their city, where they're going to have to support them? Hell no. If it was an expansion team that sucked, then they'd be okay with it because it would be theirs and there'd be something to build on. But if it's a team like the A's where they know the owners could give a shit about anybody, especially their fans, they're not going to support that. Maybe it'll be a novelty if the stadium's good enough. And that is a big if, because John Fisher doesn't spend money. Remember, we had an amazing rendering on the water in Oakland, and he passed on it after everything was done. He passed all the EPA. There's a bug there. He passed all the EPA stuff, all the cleanup, everything to get the stadium built. And at the last minute, he said no because he was never going to do it because he didn't think he was going to get that far. And when the city of Oakland and everybody came together and said, "You're good to go," he declined and he moved out. Now he's going to Vegas and telling us that he's going to put a better team on the field because now he's got a better stadium. Guys, it's all crap. It's not real. It's not real because nobody's going to go watch the A's in 110-degree weather where you don't know the players' names and where they're going to suck. And then magically he's going to get players to come play there. Tell me what superstar is going to look at all the teams in Major League Baseball and look at the A's and be like, I want to go play in Las Vegas in 110-degree weather and possibly get heat stroke every time I get on the field. Who's going to do that? Even if it's the highest offer, they'll take a $5 to $10 million pay cut not to play with the A's, and go play anywhere else. It's a joke. I don't even know why Major League Baseball allows it, guys. I really don't. I don't know why they allowed this to happen. It's absolutely just a dumpster fire of a situation. They should have forced John Fisher to sell or at least upgrade the team. Remember, guys, it used to be, it still is, but not as much, that if your team was bad enough that they got a kickback from Major League Baseball. They got $50 million, $100 million for a compensation for having a bad team in a bad market. Oakland's not a bad market, guys. First off, if you've ever been to a Raider game or an A's game when the A's were good, they sold out. I would argue that Oakland is a better market than the San Francisco Giants market. I would argue that. They had a bigger stadium and they sold it out when they were in playoffs. They were loud, they were amazing, they were crazy, they were awesome. Us as fans, we brought that. Just like the Warrior fans are. You ever go to a Warrior game when they were in Oakland, or in San Francisco for that matter, but in Oakland, right? They sold out and they were loud and they were supportive and they were awesome. You're going to tell me that you couldn't sell tickets there? Bullshit. You just wanted to move the team somewhere else and you wanted somebody to pay for it. And at the end of the day, you got a shitty rendering in a hot place in the middle of a desert where nobody's going to go watch. Even if you could get all of us Oakland fans on board to come see a game there, you'd have to get us to come see every single game that's a home game for you to make any money. Because the residents of Las Vegas don't want that. They're smart. They live in the desert. They want to go watch a hockey game where it's completely full of ice and cool. They want to go watch a Raider game where it's completely enclosed with air conditioning. They're not going to go watch a baseball game out in the heat. It would be better off if they got a basketball team, which I think is actually coming pretty soon, I bet. But, these are the days of the Oakland A's. We'll see. I still predict they're going to be the Sacramento A's. I still feel like in 2 years they're just going to say, all right, let Sacramento build me a stadium. That's what I believe, but we'll see. Also, speaking of basketball and the Golden State Warriors, they are working out a sharpshooter by the name of Davis Bertans, and he actually is a really great shooter. He is, coming off the bench, he would be a great addition. The problem is, can this guy stay healthy? Now, I think if he comes off the bench, he actually could stay healthy. And if he does, that's a great signing for the Warriors because he can shoot. This dude can shoot. He's under the radar. I don't know why nobody's picking him up. But if he stays coming off the bench, which he will, the Warriors, not going to start. But if he stayed coming off the bench, that could solidify the bench quite well, quite nicely. So I'm not sure if they're going to sign him yet, but I do think that that's something that could be coming soon. He's not going to cost much to sign because he's injury prone. But with the Warriors, if they keep him on the bench and they just bring him off to play 5 minutes a game, 6 minutes a game, whatever, maybe 10 even, that this guy could actually end up helping the Warriors bench quite a bit because he can shoot. He's a really good shooter, guys. If you don't know who Davis Bertans is, go and look up a YouTube video and go watch his stats. I did the other day. He can shoot. He's a good shooter. He's a good shooter. He can play. So hopefully they sign him if the money's right. But we'll see how that goes. And of course, we all know about Steph Curry getting his signing bonus, or not signing bonus, but his extension. So he got extended out another year. And again, just talking a little bit about Warriors, I don't think that we need to really panic when it comes to Steph Curry and his timeline. He's still playing fantastic high-level basketball, and he will for a number of years. I still think he's got 2-3 more years left easily before he starts to really kind of decline. So let's see where that goes, because I don't think he's going to decline very soon. And I think they have time to make the right moves if they're patient. Now, I don't have a whole lot of faith in Dunleavy. I still don't as a GM. I don't think that he is making the moves that I think the Warriors need to make to really put them in, playoff contention too much. But let's remember, if Draymond Green wasn't if he wasn't suspended last year, as many as he was, the Warriors could have won 5 to 10 more games, probably 10 more games, right, than they did, which would have put them in the top 5. Right? Not vying for a play-in spot, but the top 5. So that's the difference, guys. They are not far off. They only need a couple of guys to really start to contend. Because when you got Curry, you're contending. So let's see how that goes. But I do think that if they're patient, they can get the right guys in there. Just don't make any knee-jerk reactions where they think they need to make moves. We'll see more about this towards the halfway point of this year. Let's see what Kuminga does. Let's see what some of these guys who are in their second and third year come around and do, because this is put up or shut up time, especially for Kuminga. That dude needs to show that he can do it or move on, man. Move on. But I liked the initiative last year. I didn't like the result. I liked the initiative of going and taking the ball and shooting it. Still didn't know when to do that, though. Kind of picked bad times to do that. Didn't pass the ball when he should have. Kind of did spurts where in 3 or 4 possessions in a row, he'd take the ball on his own and shoot it, make 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4, and then go back to passing. So I think he needs a lot. He's got a long way to go. I think, depending on the right deal, I'd trade him. I probably would trade him, especially, let's see halfway through the year what happens, what they do. I think that, sand in the hourglass with him is running out, and I definitely think it's time to put up or shut up with Kuminga. He better come out strong this year. Otherwise, you trade bait. Trade bait. Can't wait any longer for him to come around, because he's on his 3rd year, I believe. 3rd or 4th year. I think he's in his 3rd year. So it's time to show what you can do. If you can't do it by the 3rd year, you're not doing it. You're just not doing it. But otherwise, I like, Pods. Podziemski's awesome. I think he's like a superstar in the making. He's coming up. Trace Jackson Davis, I'm not going to stop talking about him, because I think he's just ready. He is NBA starting material, in his rookie year. So definitely he's ready now. So let's see where that goes. But that dude is awesome. So I like where the Warriors are at. I like where they're positioned for now, and see where it goes. I like where they're positioned, though. So that's good. Raiders, I don't have much to say yet. I want to see their first game. I just want to see who they are. I want to see their identity. I think their identity is really in their defense. I've been saying that. I do think the Raiders' identity is in their defense, because the last part of the year last year, their defense came together and was looking strong. It was looking tough. It was looking nasty. Looking really good. So I want to see the first Raiders game before I talk too much more about them, because On the offensive side, I still think there's a lot to do there. They really don't have a franchise quarterback yet, of course. But they got a guy that can kind of throw the ball and sling the ball, and that's fine. He can do okay. But overall, on their offense, I'd say they got a long way to go. They got a receiver, but he's disgruntled, right? They got a wide receiver who's disgruntled, and Devontae Adams. He wants to leave the team because they can't get him the ball. I mean, Jimmy G was overthrowing him last year and just basically pissing him off to the point where he's like, I'm done here. And they benched Jimmy G. So, but, now let's see what happens. But Devontae Adams is the only weapon you guys got. I mean, what happens when you double cover that guy? Who are you throwing the ball to? There's not a lot of options, guys. I don't know. The Raiders need to go out there and get some offense. So, I'm not sure what they're waiting for, but let's see. But I do think the defense can hold them down to a certain extent. I would say this thing working for the Raiders would be a playoff spot. Not a wild card spot, but a playoff spot. I mean, well, maybe a wild card would even... I'd say a wild card would be successful, right? Get them into the wild card, and that's them moving in the right direction this year. But I'm really worried about them even doing that. I kind of feel like they're going to take a step down, guys. I feel like they might take a step back just because I don't see their offense improving. They don't really have anybody at running back that can really make a huge impact. They got one star wide receiver who's good, but they're going to, I don't know. I think teams are going to key on like forcing the Raiders to make plays somewhere else. Maybe make a throw somewhere else. So let's see if the tight end position comes into play more with the Raiders. But, I mean, they're going to have to pick up the slack. There's going to be some guys that we're going to have to learn their names, basically, and figure out if, they're going to be something. Right now, I just can't see, aside from their nasty defense, which I think they have great defense, I think the problem is they're going to be on the field all the time. So their defense is going to start off great, and then they're going to be exhausted by the third quarter because they're going to be on the field all the time. It's not good. It's not good. So, overall, I think the Raiders are a 500 team. I don't know. Maybe they get 10 wins. If maybe they get 10 wins, but they don't have that franchise quarterback, which means inconsistency, which means you're not going to win a lot that way. I don't know what they're doing. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what their strategy is, guys. Maybe they're waiting to draft somebody next year for a quarterback, but that's going to put them back too. I mean, you're kind of wasting Devontae Adams. I mean, unless you go out and get a star quarterback, somebody who can get him the ball, you're kind of wasting his skill. I mean, a rookie's not going to get him the ball next year. So, trade him. I just think trade him and start from scratch. You've started from scratch so many times, but, on the offensive side, what if you could trade Devontae Adams and like a couple guys for a good quarterback, or just trade up to get up in the draft to get your franchise guy? I don't know who that would be next year because I haven't watched college football enough to know who that next quarterback's going to be, like the next guy. But if I were the Raiders, I'd be looking real hard at trying to like move up, in the draft as much as possible to get that guy. Because, you don't have your quarterback. It makes no sense to have Devontae Adams when you don't have your quarterback. Now, I understand you thought maybe you had that with Jimmy G, but you didn't. And the Niners knew that. That's why the Niners didn't care, right? Jimmy G went to the Raiders. And he was benched. Guys. So, I mean, that tells you something. They should have saw that when the Niners didn't want him. The Raiders should have seen the Niners didn't want him and, read that message loud and clear. But they didn't, because they didn't really have a quarterback that they liked in the first place. But the bottom line is, why did you go get Devontae Adams if you didn't have somebody to throw him the football? Doesn't make sense. He can't do it all himself. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but, it is what it is. And I don't have a lot to say about the Sharks yet, guys, because I just don't know hockey enough to be honest. I want to talk hockey, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know a lot about hockey. I don't know that much about hockey, but I want to learn more about it, and I want to talk more about it because I have watched them in the past. I mean, I watched the Sharks when they played in the playoffs, probably 15 years ago in the Dallas Stars, one of the best hockey playoffs I've ever seen. That went like went in overtime, went through the 3 periods, and then went in 2 or 3 overtimes. It was crazy. So I mean, I have a respect for hockey and I like it, and I just want to research the players and give you good content on that, so I know more about it. So we'll talk more about that later. But for now, that's pretty much all I got for you guys this week. And again, I appreciate your support, and I'm gonna get a co-host in here to host with me and talk more and bounce some stuff off and go live and keep watching me. And again, hit the like, hit the subscribe. I really appreciate all your help and everything that you guys are doing by watching my videos. Stay in contact. Give me some comments. I'll respond to the comments, guys. For anybody who's watching, give me some comments, good, bad, or whatever. I will read and respond to all of them. And I'll see you in the next one. So remember, hard work beats talent when talent don't work. I'll see you in the next video next Friday, guys. Have a good one.